What is up, everybody on YouTube? This is Caden back with another video for y'all. Pretty much this one today is going to be pretty short and sweet, honestly. Um, I don't have a whole lot to talk about. I've got some interesting things going on in the knife world, you know, with all the selling and stuff I do. But other than that, it's really not too much. So I just want to kind of go over this little dilemma I've been having. So I buy and I sell so many knives, and I have a very few, select few, that I keep in my everyday carry rotation that I do, and I haven't had anything really new for myself in a long time because, it's hard to find the perfect one, and every once in a while you run across one that it does meet that criteria that you're looking for, but I hadn't felt like that in a long time. I haven't seen one that really got me too excited in a little while. And I thought about it and I was like, these really are some cool knives that I got coming through. Maybe I just see so many knives so often that I can't find that appreciation that other people have who just buy a knife every once in a while. And I was like, that really probably is it. So I decided I should probably try to do something to solve that. So I decided I was going to give myself a challenge to only carry one knife every day for at least the next 3 months, but maybe even up to 6 months. I haven't completely decided yet, but at least 3 month minimum right there. And I was like, you know what? Let's just carry this old timer. But I carried that old timer. This old timer, I carried it every day for 8 years straight. It's done its time in service. So I really like this knife, but it's got a lot of good memories behind it. And I would like to just have this in a rotation like how I have had it. Just because of the memories behind it, I don't want to wear it out here in the next 2 or 3 years just because I abuse it every day. So I was like, well, we could just start carrying the old reliable 75 pattern. I've been carrying this one for about 2 years now. 1 year, 2 years, something like that. And it's been a good one. And it's a really pretty knife. But I'm about wore out with this 75 pattern. Don't ask me why, I don't know. It's just something about it. I'm kind of wore out with it. So, we had this new buffalo horn one come in that we was going to run on the show. And it had a little of a magnetism issue, which has seemed to sort itself out pretty well. But I was like, this is a nice knife. I am thinking about keeping it, but I don't think this is the one, honestly, to throw in my pocket and carry every day. So I looked at all my knives, every knife I had in that box, and I looked at them, and I was like, man, I just couldn't come up with anything. I sat here for 3 or 4 hours one day, and I just could not come up with anything. So I decided, you know what? Let's just do it how we did it back in the day. Let's just do it a little old school. Let's just take a trip on down to the hardware store and walk up to that case, ask the lady to come over, and let's just pick us out something. And whatever I pick out, that'll be what I carry every day, no matter what. And I always carry two, so I'll have something else. I'll always have something else. But I do need one that I just throw in my pocket, and that's what I carry every day. Because I end up coming up with these crazy combos, and then I end up thinking about it way more than what I need to serve the purposes that I need to serve. I don't know why I'm like that. It gets a little bit too complicated. But anyways, I went down there to the old hardware store. I asked the lady to come there, and we looked through a couple of boxes of knives, and I found the one. I'm holding it right now. It's in my hands. And this is the one. And it's nothing too crazy. It's just your amber bone PETC jig trapper. And it is pretty. It did match my 75 pattern, which is kind of what I was going for. I did kind of want it to match that 75 pattern. So it does match pretty well. And it's got some nice blades on it with pretty decent grinds. Good snap. Nice spay blade. Good snap. But what was interesting about this knife to me, and why I picked this one out over the others, on these back springs, they're really rounded. Almost all the way down the knife. It's really rounded across the back. And you got like a really good rounded bone there. And you don't see that kind of stuff on too many case knives. I've seen them on some 40 to 64s. And honestly, I think on the 40 to 64s that I have seen it on, I think they have been were so pocket worn that it wore down and it looked like that. But this one kind of had that look straight out of the box. And they did so much grinding on this thing that it don't even look like a normal trapper up towards the top here. It really tapers off into this thin neck. And I can't explain that too well. You know, I could compare it to this one, but they honestly don't look too different. They look about the same. But I can see it myself, and that's hard to explain, but it just looked interesting enough to pick this one out. So this is it. I mean, this is just a pretty knife. Just a pretty amber bone PETC jig trapper. Classic. I mean, it's about as classic of a carry as it gets, honestly. Other than that buffalo horn, I mean, that buffalo horn is a classic piece. So that's what I'm going to carry. And I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I'm like, well, after I get past that 3 or 6 month mark and it's time to throw something else in my pocket, am I going to be excited or am I going to be sad to set this one down? And I really don't know. I won't know until that day comes. But I'm hoping that I'll like this one so much that this is all I want to carry. That's really our whole goal when we buy a knife. We want that everyday carry. Pretty good centering on these. It's not bad. So we'll see when that day comes, how I'm feeling about it. Other than that, you know, I got this new GEC. It's just a pretty knife that I've been wanting to show. And this is a food knife, and I have cut a little bit with it. I have cut a steak. But look at that thing. So this is a new one that I'm pretty interested in. And this is your North American cattle bone. And they dyed that perfect, and that Titty Ute badge is perfect. A Viper is one of the best GEC patterns that you can carry. And that one's got a crazy snap to it. So this is going to be my food knife. And, you know, I got a bunch that go on rotation. Not even all of them are sitting here, the ones that I do put on rotation. But this one and all my other ones, they're going to be on rotation. But the trapper will stay sticking in my pocket. And we had some cool leftovers the other day. Here's a pretty little 40 to 64. This is a gentleman's knife. And for the age of this one, the condition is just crazy perfect. So we got that. That's a leftover from the show. Good snap for that old of a knife. That is your green bone. beautiful knife to go on my new Remington anvil. And I dropped it. It's alright. It's probably been dropped more than that. If it would have broke, it would have broke 30 years ago, 45 years ago. So, we got that one. We got a couple other ones. I dropped it again. I have to edit that out or something. Probably not. But I'm not picking that thing up right now. Just for it to drop again. But I am going to show this one. Just for the people who are interested and have been sitting here watching the video, looking at the ones in the background. This is a Cooper Cutlery. I've never seen one of these before. And look how thick those blades are. That's kind of crazy. I've never seen one. I've never seen a trapper with blades like this. But they do have good grinds on it. These are handmade in the USA. There ain't a gap on them back springs. And it's got a gator snap to it. That's a sweet one. And of course, you know, your trapper lock. I've never actually seen one until I bought this one. So we got that one. And this one will probably end up getting sold too, like most of them do. But that was just an interesting one that I picked up that I was like, wow, that's cool. So we got that trapper lock. You know, the rest of that stuff is just pretty regular. That's a little USA old timer. Little Camillus trapper. And while I'm at it showing this other stuff, I'll show this real quick. This is a custom piece that I did, and this is a Bear & Son USA with the Damascus blades. I did all the bone work on this knife. I made that shield to go in there. I did this worm groove on the back, which I thought was pretty interesting, the way that it turned out. This is pretty much my first custom piece, and I'm really happy with it. I thought about throwing this in my pocket and carrying it around, but this one has its own purpose that it serves. When I go to whittling, this is one of the whittling knives that I pull out. And if somebody's interested enough, I might sell that thing. I don't know. And then we had a cool fish knife. This is that new Case fish knife. That was a leftover that I was pretty excited to get my hands on, to see that new Case fish knife. That just looks cool. I'm not necessarily a fish knife guy, but just to have one for display, I think is cool. It just kind of reminds me of my grandpa. He never carried one of these, but we fished all the time. And if I showed him this today, if he was still alive, he'd be interested in it. So that's why I got that one. Or that's why I kept that one. Nobody really even asked about that one during the show. So yeah, just a little EDC update is pretty much all this video is, just a little EDC update. This is it for now. These two knives is what I'm going to carry. I'm going to carry that one every day. I'm going to switch this one up, but that's a pretty slick little everyday right there. A little interesting trapper and a damn interesting GEC. So, I do have one more knife to show, and this will be it. I know all you guys in here that's like, man, I thought you were just gonna review one knife. Well, I did, and I'm done. Now let's go over the rest. I'm just kidding, but I did pick this up, and this one's just cool to me, and it didn't get sold. I had a little bit too high of a price on it, but my dad has one of these, and it's about sharpened halfway down, and he's used it to skin just about every deer that he's ever killed. And I wanted one when I was a kid, and he went and got me one from Tractor Supply, and it was a China made. But I always wanted one like Dad's, so this one's just like his. So I might keep this thing. That's just a cool one. It's got a lot of character in it, and it's a good knife for hunting and stuff. So, little 152 old timer. Not many of those coming by my desk, but I do have this one. That's a sweet one right there. And my wife, I got a little funny story to tell about my wife. And just in case you were wondering, I might have already mentioned this. This is a 2023 Trapper. But I work out of town, and my wife, I asked her to send me all of my knives for my show, and she got the box put together, and she said, "Look, I got all your knives together, but I'm not shipping that sword." I said, "What sword? I've never ordered a sword, guys." So I was like, "What sword are you talking about?" And she said, "In the box. I mean, she said, "You got a knife in, and it's a damn sword." And I was like, "Baby, I ain't ordered no sword." She said, "Well, yes, you did. I did get one." She said, "There's a sword sitting in this house." And I'm like, "Did I accidentally swipe on somebody's stream while I was sleeping? What did I do?" And I was like, "Go get it and show it to me." So she went and got it, and I fell out laughing, you guys. When I bought that old timer right there, they had a Uncle Henry fillet knife. And if y'all don't know about Uncle Henry fillet knives, that's the best fillet knife you can get your hands on is an Uncle Henry fillet knife, especially one made in the USA. I probably got about 5 or 6 of them at the house. My dad's got 3 or 4 of them at his house. And my grandpa used to buy them. My dad used to buy them back in the 90s. And, deer, fish, anything you can think of, they get razor sharp, and they're just great knives. So I bought one because it was going for so cheap I couldn't pass it up. And that's what she had found, and she thought it was a sword. She legit thought my Uncle Henry fillet knife was a sword. And she would not ship it to me, and I argued with her for about probably an hour and a half of between texting and phone calls, saying, "Baby, please, please send me that knife. It's expensive. Please. It's going to make us money." And she would not go for it. And I said, "Well, if you don't send me that knife, I'm keeping it." And she said, "Well, that's fine with me." And I was like, you know what? Kind of inside, I was like, score. So, got a new Uncle Henry fillet knife to add to the collection. I love Uncle Henry. You can see my little Uncle Henry. Where's my finger? Yep, over here. I got Uncle Henry in there. And I got some Uncle Henry down here. And I ordered some more Uncle Henrys. I love Uncle Henry. I love Old Timer. And I love Case. And that's mainly what I buy, but I always end up with some other stuff, I got some Shatton Morgans. I got all this crazy stuff that I bring on here and show y'all, but I just thought that was a little funny story I would share. So I don't buy very many Baron Sons. I don't buy very many of some of the other brands. I buy a little bit of Rough Rider. I'll buy some Rough Riders if I find them interesting enough to carry. And I only have 2 Rough Riders right now, and because usually they end up going pretty quick. Because if I buy one, I'm gonna buy something cool like that moose that's sitting up at the top right here, or I'm gonna end up buying like a crazy vintage Rough Rider that's like first edition Rough Rider, which is the other one that I have, and it's put up. I'm not gonna pull it out right now. But the rest of them go pretty quick. So it's mainly just Case, Old Timer, GEC, and Uncle Henry that you're gonna see me pull out, and that's kind of how I like it, honestly. I think that's a vibe, and I mean you can even see in the color patterns of the knives that I get. I try to get dark patterns. I'm usually not the kind of guy that's gonna get some crazy colors like this little green thing over there, and that is cool in its own way. And I got some orange stuff. But that's about it. Usually I'm going with a maroon red or a wood or just like a dark bone or a stag, or, you know, these are the only two amber bone knives that I have, and they're probably the about the brightest ones that I have, other than that green one sitting over there. But that's not really bright, and that is kind of classy, you know. So I just hope y'all, I hope y'all like my stuff. Is what basically all I'm trying to say. I hope y'all can appreciate the vibe that I'm trying to put out into the world, and the things that I try to go over and teach y'all. And there's not much to learn in this video, except for maybe just try to appreciate the things that you have. Like me, that's a kind of a big thing with me, is to appreciate the things. And like I said, I was having a hard time with it. So I'm not saying that it's a great thing that I had to go buy something to make myself appreciate it, but at least I'm trying to get back on that track. Not to where I'm, you know, I see some guys, they get some of the craziest, rarest 40 to 64s, you know, craziest red bones and all this other crazy stuff, and they let them go pretty quick. And I really don't want to be that guy. I want to be a guy who can appreciate the history and everything of a knife, and at least keep it for a while, and or pass them down to my kids when I get older, you know. So that's pretty much what this is representing, in a sense, is trying to get back on track, appreciating the little things, and keeping things simple. So that's all I got for y'all. I appreciate y'all coming to watch this video. Y'all like, subscribe, and comment, and go follow me on Whatnot. I changed my username. It's Kaden Farmer. That's KADEN FARME, or on Whatnot. So y'all go follow me on there. I appreciate y'all, and I love y'all. Bye.